Hello, and today we're going to be taking a look at Ash Williams from The Evil Dead.
Groovy.
Let's start off with the box art, and honestly, I love the cover for this. And getting it off to the side too, you get a first look at Ash Williams himself from the very first film, which I think just has some really great detail and even celebrates the 40th anniversary of The Evil Dead. On the back, you get some more looks at the figure with some of the figure photography, which I think looks really nice and shows off the posability, as well as cover art from the movie and a synopsis, which reads, 5 friends drive to a remote cabin in the woods for a fun getaway. While they're there, they find the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, an ancient tome which the text reawakens the dead when read aloud. After unintentionally releasing a flood of evil, the group must fight for their lives or become possessed. And on the side, you also get another look at the figure himself. Opening him up, you get another look at the figure with some more accessories and some nice little figure photography, as well as the first look at the figure himself with all of the accessories that he comes with. And I do think this has a very nice range of accessories, and I do love that Necca's been going more towards some horror figures. Of course, I think it's now time that we have to unbox him. So let's get the first thing out, which is this little backdrop frame. It's nothing too special. Personally, I would never use it, but more power to you if you can find a way to pull this off. You even get the gravestone where he buries his own girlfriend, I believe is what that's supposed to be, and I think it looks nice. And getting our first look at the accessories, we get the little recording device which the Necronomicon Ex Mortis was recorded on, and which was played aloud to summon the demons. And I think this has some really great detail, including the spinning tapes, and a little bit of weathering and all the buttons on the back. And especially on the back too, you get the battery receiver where it had to be plugged in. The next item on the list is going to be this shotgun from the very first film, and I think it does a really nice job at recreating the look. It looks believable, it has some really great weathering and texture details. Next up on the list we have the axe, and honestly I can't really recall when this was used in the film besides to chop wood, but I guess that might be the purpose that it serves here. This axe has some really great detail, some nice weathering, and printed on detail as well. Of course, we also have the lantern from when they had to go into the basement several times throughout the film, and this might be one of my favorite accessories to pose with. And, of course, it wouldn't be Ash Williams without the iconic chainsaw. Now, while he didn't really use it too much in the first film, I do think it serves a good purpose being here, as it does allow for a little more posability and a little more variety with the weapons. And this chainsaw has some really great weathering detail, and you even get the blades kind of textured on there, so it gets a little nice feel to it. And now, of course, let's look at the hands that he comes with, and he only comes with 2. I wish we had a little bit more options, but I guess for what the figure and accessories they give us, it's not bad. You get this little trigger finger hand, which could be used for probably more than likely the chainsaw, as well as the shotgun. And I do think the vein application and the printing on these hands looks really well in detail for a 1/12 scale figure. And, of course, there's a little bit of even nail application. And the next one is this thumbs up, or a squeezing hand to hold the axe, as well as the lantern as well, more than likely. But it could be used as a thumbs up, and I think this looks good too. Now we can finally look at Ash Williams all himself in his glory. Starting off on Ash Williams, he has some really great detail all in this clothing with the folds in the fabric all coming printed on, and I think that comes off very well in here. He also does have a little bit of texture all along the elbows and the wrist with some nice detailed printing and weathering on there as well to give it a little bit of color discoloration with all the blood, dirt, and grime that he would have on him at this point in the film. Furthermore, you also get a little more detail with the hand, and you even get some head articulation as well because we have 3 swap out head sculpts to go through, and I'll be going through all of them. So let's start off with this one. I think this one has a nice option and range. You can get them to look in mostly anywhere, just very static pose, but I think this might be one of my favorites. But let's test out a few others, and I don't know how to feel about this one, guys. I mean, I don't... It's a little bit of a weird one, but let's keep going. And I do like the eyes are looking in a different direction, so I guess you could try to get something a bit more dynamic with him. And this does have a little bit of detail, and I think, honestly, the more you turn it... Oh, yeah. Okay, I see it now, guys. I understand why they have this, because the more you turn this head, the more alive it comes on. It's not a good one to do front-facing, but if you want the eyes angled in a certain way, this is the head sculpt that you're going to want to go for. And, of course, finally, we have this more static, kind of grim-looking one. A little bit different from the first one. I can't fully see the difference, so honestly, what I'm thinking I might do with this one is turn this into a battle-damaged, bloodied-up head. But I do think this one looks really good still. It's a little bit meaner, so I think this comes off. And it also has a little bit of a subtle 5 o'clock shadow on this one that I don't think the others have as much. And now let's get all 3 of the head sculpts put up together so we can all take a look at them. And here they are, all 3 of them, and I gotta say, And honestly, I gotta say, I think the left one is my go-to. This is the one that I'm gonna be using on my figure, but of course, I do like the right one a little bit too, and the one in the middle would be good for a battle damage sculpt. Alright, now let's take a look at the articulation. Neck can go down to there and go looking up right about there. Not a whole lot of neck range, but you're not going to need anything too crazy. You're not going to be putting him in any Spider-Man poses. He has full 360 rotation on the head, which is very great, and you get a little bit of movement on the arms, as well as this torso not having any ab crunch, which kind of sucks, but for what it's worth, again, you're not putting him in any Spider-Man poses. So you can get the arms up to about there, which isn't too bad, and you can also bend the elbows to about 90 degrees, roughly, a little bit more if you want to push your figure. That's up to you. I don't think I'm going to be pushing mine any further. There's a little bit of rubbery joint on the forearm and bicep, which allows for a little bit of pushback. And you get a full 360 rotation on his arm as well, which again, if you like that, great for you. Personally, not going to be something I'm looking forward to too much. There's a little bit of swivel at his arm joint that you can push depending on how you pose up the figure, as well as wrist articulation going forward and backwards. The back of this figure is really interesting and it has almost a bit of a rubbery latex feel, especially up on the upper parts, and I think that might just be the sculpted parts coming in with the actual articulation of the figure's underbody. I think there's just a little bit of gap, so it allows for a bit of rubbery material, but that's nice because you're able to switch and pivot the figure just a little bit more than you're probably supposed to. But if you want to push them like that, you're more than welcome to. I don't know how much I'm willing to push that, but that's just a preference on my part. Then you also get, of course, leg articulation, allowing for a nice range of kickback, as well as a forward motion, and a little bit of back bend on the legs as well. And I do think this is just about all that you need. Again, you're not putting him in any crazy Spider-Man poses. Unless that's what you want to do, this is not the figure for you. More that rubbery latex on the backside, which, again, I do think that's not necessarily by design. The legs go back up to about 90 degrees, which is, again, all you're going to need, as well as having a little bit of pivot and rotation, which this will allow you to do a full 360 on his legs. I don't know how useful this is for people's posing. If you honestly have a pose that you can use this for, more power to you. Maybe it'll look good with a dead-eyed Ash Williams, you can get them all mangled and messy looking, but not really for me. There's also a little bit of foot articulation, but I didn't feel too confident in these pegs, so I don't know how far I would be willing to push that if I were you. But of course, it's your own copy of this figure if you pick them up, so more power to you. Wrapping up on Ash Williams from The Evil Dead, and I can't really have a complaint about this figure. I got him for $25 at Walmart, and honestly, if you did pay the full price of $35 for this figure, I would still say it's worth it. Necca has been nailing it out of the park with these horror figures, and I want you guys to let me know down in the comments if you think I should be reviewing more Necca horror figures for this Halloween season. If I have to give one complaint with this figure, I think there could be a little bit more articulation just on the arm areas, as it could get a little more dynamic with the chainsaw and the axe posings. But of course, I understand the limitations with a figure like this, and again, for $25, I can't complain too much about how I got this figure and its articulation. Of course, share your thoughts down below in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe and share this video, please. You guys have a great day.